Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry it's had some technical difficulties earlier, and so I'm gonna do it this way. Hopefully next week I can figure out the live option and get that one going, but for now I'm just gonna do recording here since I wanted to get this out. Um, First, I wanted to, if you look at the screen, it says understanding proteins. I wanted to quickly, not quickly, but I just wanted to go through that with you guys. So it says foods that have a high concentrate complex structure of amino acids are called proteins. This includes flesh, muscles, organ, and gland tissues, etc., and to a lesser degree, nuts, beans, and sometimes starches. Amino acids, not proteins, are what the body requires to build tissue and act as carriers and buffers. These amino acids group together in a specific sequence to become a usable protein, are nitrogen rich, and have dominance on the acid side when broken down. When we consume proteins from animal flesh, nuts, beans, etc., the body must first break those proteins down into their respective amino acids. These separated amino acids are then grouped into the sequences our bodies need. Think of it like a string of children's pop beads, each individual bead representing an amino acid, and the completed chain of beads a protein. When we eat a protein, the body must pop apart those beads. The necessary beads are then recombined in the order the body requires, and the unnecessary beads are discarded. So here at this picture, you see one, we have the initial protein chain. Each of these little beads is an individual amino acid. Part two is the breakdown of the protein structure that's actually required of the body, aka amino acids. And then part three are all the unnecessary amino acids. So I like that. It's a good picture. This requires a lot of energy and an initial acid, hydrochloric acid, releasing pepsin, to break these complex proteins back down through the peptide stages and finally into amino acids before your body can use them. This is why we call proteins, especially flesh proteins, second-hand amino acids. Unlike fruits and veggies, which are considered first-hand superior amino acids, further leaving an alkaline ash. It's important to note that the body does not burn amino acids for energy. That is a huge part, guys. Proteins do not give your body energy. This would be like burning your cabin walls in your fireplace for fuel. Carbon, carbohydrates, and oxygen are used for energy. These foods are predominantly your fruits and vegetables. All foods have and are made up of amino acids. This gives them structure. However, these amino acids are simple and easy for your body to break apart and use. When man looks at his health issues, they fall predominantly on the acid side of chemistry. Remember, there are only two sides of chemistry. You can substitute acidosis, the buildup of acids in tissues, for inflammation, pain, and destruction of the body. Cancer. Proteins can be constipating and putrefactive, causing toxemia and acidosis. Flesh protein makes for body odor, where fruits and veggies cleans the body and eliminates body odor. This is from my level one course with Dr. Morse. He has this table here that's very interesting because you can actually compare the mother's milk of different species to its components of carbohydrates, fats, and here you see proteins. And this thing that says ash here, that has to do with the metabolite after digestion. So let's take a look here. Did you know that breast milk, human mother's milk, it is very high? If you look down the chart here, it's very high in carbohydrates, which is sugars. It's 7.4%, fats being 3.2%, and proteins very small, not even 1%, guys. It's 0.89% proteins. That is human mother's milk. for the baby that is expected to go from a wee bit to like that, huge changes in that first year of development. And it's basically on carbohydrates. All right, so moving down, we have whole cow's milk. Okay, so the carbohydrates in cow's milk, think about a baby cow, 4% carbohydrates. The fats are 12%, so it's lipid based, and the proteins are 16%. So when we are feeding our children whole cow's milk when they're younger, that is a lot of protein. We're not baby cows. We do not need that much protein. If you see the comparisons here, humans require carbohydrates, and you'll see that in anatomy and physiology, how the body thrives on simple carbs, which are fruits. Also, let's look at primates because primates have the most similar ratios of carbs and proteins to human milk. Okay, so the carbohydrates contained in primate milk, they're looking at baboons, it's 7.8%. The fats are also a little bit more than humans at 4.5%. And the proteins, it's also considerably low. It's not even 2%, guys. It's 1.5% protein. So a cow, 16%, most of the milk is protein versus primates, fingers to peel, just like humans, fingers to peel fruits, very low proteins. I won't read all of them, but let's look down the list and compare other high protein. Other high protein milk is raw coconut milk, which is why coconuts are not, I mean, coconut water is good for detox, but the milk, we use that for the building phase. Let's see, we have raw goat's milk, pretty much very different than all of them, but it's, as you can see, 4.4% carbs, 4.1% fat, 3.5% protein. If you look at raw almond milk, the carbs are very low. The fats are 1.5%, and proteins are also pretty low. Soy milk, bananas are super high in carbohydrates, and grapes are also the highest on this list at 25.35%, absolutely no fats, and 1.1% protein. What? Grapes have protein? It's the amino acids, guys. So I think that's very interesting. Let's look down and see if there's anything else here that I wanted to share with you guys. As you can see, primate milk is the closest to human milk of all nature's milks. Some food chemistry here. Let's see. Do we want to look at this? Fruits are much closer to mother's milk in chemistry than vegetables. Oh, I see here. Coconut meat, animal protein. All right, so I think that was all I wanted to look at here. There is hold on, I don't want to leave you guys with that page. Let's see. There is sorry. There's a book called The Mucusless Diet by a man named Professor Arnold Ehret. He was like the first very well-known fruitarian. He experimented on himself. He was given he had Bright's disease, which is a disease of the kidneys, and in kind of like in detest of given that label, he was like, I'm just not going to eat. So he started fasting, and to his surprise, he started getting a lot better. So he started studying fasting. He opened up sanatoriums. He did a lot of great work for the natural hygiene movement. And there's just some things that I wanted to share with you. I'm going to have to look for it though. Okay, so let's see here. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's go here. I was looking at page, where's my notes? 163. So we can go back up here. This is just a really good book, guys, because really I wanted to come here to read that protein stuff, but to really tell you guys that that has been a lie, that we need protein to thrive and survive. Protein is, you're eating dead animal flesh, if that's your protein source. So you're eating death, pieces of organ and muscle tissue, and then the body's breaking it down. And it's not like the pieces of muscle, lean muscle, cleaner grass-fed beef. It's not like that becomes part of your body. Your body's breaking it down to get rid of it. And it's also causing an immune response, aka inflammation and mucus in the body, to actually get rid of it faster, because as the flesh, I mean, it's already dead, right? And so when something dies, what happens? It starts to deteriorate, it starts to rot, it starts to break down. Um, and that happens inside of your colon because it's so acidic and mucus forming. It has a very slow transit time. It takes a lot of vital energy to break down and digest. And so what happens is you begin to invite the parasitic kingdom and all of that means, right? Like molds, fungus, candida, yeast, into your body, because then they become helpers and they start to break down this putrefactive, rotten animal flesh that we just keep eating because we believe that we need it to survive and be healthy. But let me tell you something. The proteins, after they digest, it's the metabolites that are, I mean, the protein itself is not healthy. We don't need it, right? I just showed you a whole page about it's the amino acids that the body needs, not the whole protein. And so after metabolization, the body produces these very acidic byproducts, sulfuric acid and urea. And those are the acids that begin to burn tissue, and they sit there and sit there over time, because not only is the inflammation and mucus clogging the lymphatic system, but so are these acids. These acids just, and so they sit there. And as they sit there, they're obstructing the flow of energy to the human body. And this is why we get diseases. And then the pain comes in afterwards when all of a sudden these super hot acids sit there and start eating away at the cell. The cell starts losing its function. It doesn't remember what it's supposed to do. And eventually, the cell deterioration turns into tissue deterioration. And then that turns into organ malfunction. And then that's when we see even more symptoms. So, proteins are very, very bad for you, actually. Like, and I'm saying protein as in like the whole complex structure of protein. I'm not trying to throw any shade at amino acids, because as we saw in that chart, bananas are like 13%. Oh, wait a minute. I think that was carbohydrates. But anyways, bananas have tons of amino acids. All of these veggies and fruits have, grapes had what, 1.1% amino acids. So you will still get your amino acids. All right, so let's see. Arnold Ehret was a great author and scientist, and talking about proteins not needed to grow the human vessel. I'm trying to find here. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, he talked a lot about different stuff. Oh, let's read this, because this is actually what I was looking for, and I just found it. So, feeding the baby. If mother's milk is found to be insufficient or bad, do not use plain cow's milk. We just saw how much heavier the protein component is compared to mom's milk, right? It says it should be diluted with at least 1/3 to 1/2 water and sweetened with milk, sugar, or honey. Start feeding the baby as soon as possible a teaspoon of good fruit juices. Juice from stewed beets is also good. And honey diluted with water between meals. So I understand there is this fear of feeding an infant honey, botulism. However, he talks about that here in this book. I'm pretty sure. I can't speak about it now because I actually forget. But yeah, so I'll figure something out there with that. But the fact that he's mentioning honey and diluting it, it's safe. I just forget exactly what he's talking about. So sorry about that, guys. We're focusing on proteins here. So he's saying the baby's craving is sweet and proves that fruit sugar is the essence of all dietetics. What is considered a well-fed and healthy-looking baby of average normal weight is in reality pounds of waste of decayed milk. That's pretty scary. So whether the baby is sick or not, as soon as you commence feeding it fruit juices and stewed mashed fruits, you will learn from the elimination that I am correct. The change must therefore be made very carefully. Babies and children must go through the same cleansing, healing process as do adults. I believe that a baby well nursed by good mother's milk on this diet and without special protein foods will grow wonderfully, and after the weaning period is over, could be raised on apples alone. Um, okay, so this is not what I was looking for. Because there's a section in his book where he actually talks about protein. Oh my goodness. All right, well, I'm going back to page 163. A lot of stuff in this book, guys. I do recommend reading this book. This is Professor Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System. And let's keep going on up. What did I say? 163. All right, so oh, this is just a small little section. Let's start. Let's read here though. Milk also makes a good glue for painting. Cow's milk is too rich for adults and for babies, and plainly destructive. A baby's stomach cannot digest what a calf can. If milk must be used, then add at least half water and some milk sugar. Sour milk and buttermilk are less harmful and possess some laxative qualities. The gluey, sticky properties disappear. Cottage cheese with stewed fruit is good for transition diet. All other kinds of cheeses are highly acidic and mucus formers. All right, so this is written also in like the 20s. A lot of obviously um, advancements have been made, especially with regenerative detoxification, which is what I was trained in. And if you're trying to regenerate necrotic tissue or parts of the body that are not there or misaligned, um, the cheeses are not a good transition diet at all. Neither is any type of milk and nothing with protein is going to be helpful to you. It's going to cause an immune response, inflammation, mucus, and stagnate the lymphatic system, which is what we're trying to get flowing and focusing on the kidneys. So, but it's still, it's interesting to read. He says about meats, all are in a decomposing state, producing cadaver poisons like uric acid in the body and mucus. Fats are the worst. Even butter is unusable for the human body. No animals eat fat. There is a really good part in this book where he talks about no part of an animal that you eat actually becomes part of your muscle or like your growth. I just can't find it. But this is a good book. I've listened to it over 5 times, just putting it in my headphones and running. So you can find it on YouTube and listen to it that way. He also has a book called Rational Fasting. That's pretty awesome. And that's what I wanted to share with you there. So I'm going to stop sharing this. And let's see what else. Proteins. So Even the World Health Organization, as bad as they are, they've recognized that proteins are the leading cause, high protein diets are the leading cause of colorectal cancer worldwide. So that is huge. Um, the carnivore diet. A lot of people claim that they've reversed their symptoms on a carnivore diet and they feel great. And the thing is, what we have to realize is protein is full of, it's a stimulant and it's full of neurotransmitters like epinephrine, adrenaline, which is the same thing. Um, and so, yes, at first you're going to feel good. Another reason why you're going to feel good, aside from getting the stimulant, right? Like people drink coffee and they feel great. People drink Red Bull and Monster, whatever drink, and they feel great. But long term, do they really feel great? And there hasn't been enough long term studies of people on the carnivore diet to really prove anything because people feel like crap, 6 months, a year after that they stop. And there's no studies. What else was I going to say about the carnivore diet? Feeling, oh yeah. When you, when people are detoxing and I have them on straight fruits and herbs, they feel like crap. Like I'm working with a client now and her energy has been up and down. And some days are really great, and some days are really bad. But she knows that this is part of it. And so she's very committed and she's doing great. She's reversing so many things. She's gotten so much better. So, my whole point in saying that is when your body is healing and pushing out toxemia and acid waste from the body, it's not a pleasant process. It's not a pleasant feeling. It does not feel good. Um, so, let's say you're trying to feel better because you have Crohn's or Graves or Hashimoto's, right? And you're trying to feel better and you go on a great fast, and all of a sudden tumors are resurfacing or surfacing to your skin. You have extreme migraines, you're vomiting, you've got all the things going on. You're going to come back to me and be like, this is not working. You're killing me. Then you're going to hypothetically, then you're going to be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go for that hamburger or that grass-fed free range beef, whatever. You eat that, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Ah, I feel so much better." Why is that? Why do people feel better when they eat the crap food, or food, I should say? Well, it's because when you're eating the good stuff that's actually starting to clean the body out, that doesn't feel good. And then when you put something in the body that's foreign and the body doesn't recognize it as food, it stops. It stops that whole detoxification cleansing process because now all of that healing energy that was cleaning things out and moving things out, all that energy, that vital life force is going into now survival mode, attack mode to get this foreign mucus forming acidic material out of the body. And so the healing mode shuts down and it goes into another mode, which is let's get this out of us. And so you'll feel good for a little bit. But like I said, the carnivore diet is very dangerous. It destroys your kidney tissues because of the acid ash metabolites and destroys your, it leaches calcium. Calcium is a buffering system that the body uses to bring down the acids. And so if you start leaching calcium from your bone matrix and your connective tissue and your parathyroid, what's going to happen? You're going to get depressed. You're going to get wrinkles. You're going to get bruising, spider veins, depression. I think I already said that. So yeah, calcium leaching is a major problem nowadays. You see it in a lot of people, and it's sad because it could all be avoided. So I think that's all I wanted to mention about proteins. It's even because I've been eating this way for 9 years. Um, I have a different view on eating animals, of course, but I know that for people who do eat animals and they're like, I need my meat, I love my whatever fish, um, it doesn't, it is appealing, right? But when you think about it, there's a spiritual, even if you're not spiritual, there's an energy behind eating any life form that wanted to live and that wanted to experience life and that had the gift of life in it. And then we took it away. Especially factory farming is really a horrible thing. All that karma, there's a transmutation of energy, and all that karma gets passed on to you. And so people are affected in their adrenal glands, and they're more hostile, they're more angry, they're more irritable, more emotional. Um, so yeah, where we talked about the chemistry part of protein, and that is the energetic or spiritual side of protein. You're eating an animal that was afraid to die, that maybe was tortured, that maybe was very sad. It didn't want to die, and you're literally consuming that energy. So think about that. And then another thing, when I first started this, I I do feel blessed because I went from eating a standard American diet, such a bad diet, like a light switch. The next day, I changed. I had 3 recipes that were raw, and I stuck to it. And I cleaned up more and more, and I didn't need so much food. I was feeling great. So what I'm trying to say is that you will find that if you are interested in this, that at first it might seem like, what am I going to eat? There's nothing to eat, like fruits and veggies. I barely have anything to eat. But in reality, there's so much. There's so much. I do not feel like I don't have any options to eat. Uh, Raw is one thing. Plant based is another thing. Plant based, all the cooked food is still very acid forming. So nothing great about cooked food either. That's another topic. I wanted to focus on proteins. But yeah, so once you do raw, you'll find like there's so many beautiful things you can eat, and you're going to discover new things that you didn't know existed. So if I can be any assistance to anyone, you know where I'm at. If you don't, I'm Holistic Living with Adrian on Facebook and Instagram. I also have a website that I'm working on. I think it's not up to where I want it to be, but that is also holisticlivingwithadrian.com. And yeah, I do classes locally. So reach out to me if you want any transition guides, any help detoxing, and let's get better. Let's open our kidneys, let's fix those adrenals, let's get our lymphatic system moving so we can experience the human potential. All right, guys, well, I love you. And let me just see, let me make sure there's nothing else I wanted to share with you guys. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I know this is almost like half an hour, so uh okay. Let me see. Look at that. That's what acids do to your body, guys. This is an area that is highly concentrated lymph nodes. You see that? The lymph nodes get backed up with sewage, and they just swell up and stop flowing, and everything accumulates there, and it's painful. Look how red that is. Lungs, a major eliminative organ tied to the adrenals. Also the medulla, which is not pictured here. Um, I don't know. I think there was something I wanted to look at, but I don't see it here. So, all right, guys. All right, well, that's going to be it. Take care. Have fun. See you soon.